Welcome back to Championship Figure Skating on CBC, presented by Artistry Skincare and Cosmetics. Now to the final 6 dance teams, the best of the season in Beijing. And if Canadians are hoping for good things, they'll have to come from behind. In particular, Vanessa Crone and Paul Poirier, the Skate Canada champions from the Scarborough Figure Skating Club. They are currently 5th after the short dance, where they had some small technical difficulties. In fact, they trail their Canadian rivals, Caitlin Weaver and Andrew Poje, who are currently 4th. Weaver, Poje have plenty of international experience. They've been to the World Championships twice together before, but they were tremendously disappointed to miss the World Championships last season, as well as the Olympic Games. So they'll be looking to send a message here in Beijing by stepping onto the podium as they head towards the Canadian Championships in Victoria in January. Brenda?
Well, Scott, there were 2 undefeated dance teams this season. The Americans Davis and White and the French skaters Pechalat and Bourzat. Crone and Poirier were the next qualifiers, and securing their spot on the last weekend of the season were the other Canadian team of Weaver and Poje. Well, Natalie Pechalat and Fabien Bourzat had a career year. Certainly, they were coming off a great performance at the Olympic Games and the World Championships, and kind of rode that wave into this 2010-2011 season.
Well, Natalie and Fabien have very easy-to-like programs this year. Often they would go with these sort of avant-garde themes that were hard to understand. This, a Charlie Chaplin piece to City Lights.
And here is Meryl Davis and Charlie White, and one would think this would be a relatively easy win for them, but you got to watch out for the French skaters because they're so much improved from a year ago.
I would say that, that Natalie and Fabien make choices that force you to decide, I either really like them or I don't. And Davis and White that you're seeing on your screen right now make choices that are cleaner and easier to accept, so maybe more user-friendly.
Here's a look at the standings after the short dance. Things at the top unfolded as most expected. 3 points separating the Americans from the French. A surprise to see Hoffman and Zavazin from Hungary 3rd. A point behind them, 2 Canadian teams. Really, though, a 4-way tie for 3rd, including the Russians. Ekaterina Barbova and Dmitry Soloviev are the top-ranked Russian team right now, and they were surprise silver medalists at the Cup of China earlier this season, beating the world bronze medalists from Italy, Fialli and Scali. And they followed that up with a win at the Cup of Russia.
They did not look strong at all, though, in the short dance. There's a lot of pressure on these two, as there is on all of the dance teams in Russia. They're looking who is the team that's going to take us into Sochi, be the leaders on the Russian team, continue the tradition of great Russian ice dancers. Major mistakes in the short program. They're sitting in 6th. Skating to the melody of the White Knights. Opening with the Twizzles, the element they missed in the short dance. And he misses again here. Missing on an element brings the mark down, both artistically and technically.
This is a team that's been together a relatively long period of time, a decade now. They won the World Junior Championship the first time they entered the event.
And Brenda, nerves, of course, could be a factor here in the mistakes that they've made in this competition. But I also have to question their training. At this point in the season, I expect a little more polish and refinement. However, nerves can wreak havoc on your technique. To offer. They both appear to be good, strong skaters, well matched, graceful, and nice lines. Just not quite refined yet.
I'll tell you what, a fantastic skate should leave you thinking about nothing but the skate. And I was noticing his legs. And then again I noticed his legs, and they weren't pointed, and they weren't stretched through and true. And I realized we need, number one, we want more from an ice dancer than a single skater when it comes to pointed legs. And he didn't have it.
Brenda Irving back with Tracy Wilson and Kerr Browning. We'll see what the judges thought of the free dance by Ekaterina Bobrova and Dmitry Soloviev.
Well, I think Ekaterina and Dmitry just need more mileage on that program and really do some fine tuning.
7 points back there of their season best score.
No, the wrong time of the year to be 7 points back, isn't it?
Yes, you want to be going in the opposite direction.
Our next skaters are Vanessa Crone, Paul Poirier. They won their first Grand Prix event in October when they won Skate Canada. And the Toronto skaters are hoping their results this season are a foreshadowing of things to come this spring when they hope to be in the final flight of skaters at the World Championships in Tokyo.
Coached by Carol Lane and Yuri Razguliev. This choreography, though, is by Christopher Dean. Any choreography by Christopher Dean is always a major challenge technically. Will push the skaters physically to their limits, and these are the two that can really handle his work.
Vanessa coming off an injury. She tore a bicep tendon 5 days before Skate America. Says it's feeling better now, but not 100%.
Verdeen's choreography is to have individual power from both athletes and to build iconic gestures with your shapes and lines. The bold blue and red help that happen.
Well, they've been skating together since they were kids. The two-time Canadian medalists have put themselves in position to win the first Grand Prix final medal of their careers.
And Brenda, that was excellent. Their coach Carol Lane looking on, and where they are so great for Christopher Dean choreography is technically this is a superior team, and they are like terriers. They are going to dig in and hold on to that material and really, really run with it, and that's what we've watched them do this year.
Now waiting for the scores for Canadians Vanessa Crone and Paul Poirier.
And when Vanessa and Paul perform this free dance, technically you just sit back and go, wow. I don't think artistically it was quite as effective as it was at Skate Canada, where the audience hung on every maneuver. Scores a little bit lower, but we'll still see how those stack up with the skaters to come.
Right now they are in first place. And another Canadian team on their way now to skate. Canadians Caitlin Weaver, Andrew Poje, who started their season off strong, finishing second to Olympic and world silver medalist Meryl Davis and Charlie White. But in their next Grand Prix event, they weren't quite as convincing. Finished in fourth place, but still good enough to see them make it to their very first Grand Prix final event.
Well, you have a terrific short dance, and they skated it very well, and that's what they have to do here with the free dance. They can sometimes come out and be tentative. They have to go for it, skate into Moulin Rouge.
Forming a heart with their two hands together, immediately a different tactic in a completely different direction than the other Canadian team. Vanessa and Paul, this one pulling on your heartstrings.
part here, the twizzles, a little bit slow on the rotation of the second twizzle. Wonderful features in this dance. Little glitch there on the footwork.
They are the four-time Canadian medalist Caitlin Weaver, Andrew Poje fourth after the short dance, and in a virtual tie for third.
Well, it is so close, especially in this event. It will come down to levels technically. And the technical panel very tough on the dancers with the footwork sequences and the expectations. Skated a good performance, so Brenda, we'll have to see.
Well, we're waiting for the scores now for Caitlin Weaver, Andrew Poje of Canada. To be on the podium, they're probably going to have to move into first place now ahead of their Canadian teammates, Vanessa Crone and Paul Poirier, because there's a huge gap between the top two teams in this competition and the rest of the field, about 10 points.
Well, there's also the competition in Canada to think about, too, and who they're going to... And blood, sweat, we've got no tears. We've got the blood, we've got the sweat. Caitlin has to keep up to her partner. Andrew is an amazingly tall guy, and according to my mother-in-law, one of the most handsome men on the planet. He's a fantastic skater. She can't get left behind.
And you know what? You saw in the short dance, she's his equal in that. She just has to bring her game up a little bit here. And I think they need to address their footwork sequences, a major element of the free dance. They just have to keep driving that home. And one heck of a showdown we can expect, Brenda, at the Canadian Championships between Canada's dance teams.
Fantastic lifts.
Yeah, it will be a great showdown. Just two more teams left to skate now here at the Grand Prix final next. Natalie Pechalat, and Bourzat. They finished last season off with a 6th place finish at the Olympics. A 4th place finish at Worlds, their highest placements ever They're second after the short dance, just 3 points back of Meryl Davis and Charlie White.
Telling the story of City Lights. She's blind, regains her sight.
Control in the twizzles, Tracy. I sometimes like to, you can't see this at home, but I like to watch an element and then look at you and see if you like it.
See if I liked it too.
Yeah.
I find this program, Kurt, charming. I think it's such a nice combination between the technical and then the character piece. Very effective use of the music.
Tracy, you said it's a very cute, fun program, easy to watch. I feel like they're dancing more than they have in the past. You sound like a single skater there, but I feel like I'm getting more dance. I hate when a theme that they've imposed on us gets in my way. She was blind, she gets her sight back. What does that have to do with this? I just want to enjoy their dancing.
One of the reasons they think they've had such a great season so far is the fact that they got an early start to training, really perfected those programs before they took them into competition, and that's why we've seen some error-free skating from this French team.
And Kurt, what a theme does do is it helps the dancers to bring meaning to their movement, an inspiration for their movement.
Okay. Well, it was great. The theme came back at the very end, but
Well, as she says, how can I be blind throughout the program?
I get it. She had to get her sight back.
You two are overthinking this.
No, they started it. But it was lovely. I liked it.
They have never won a European or a world medal before, and the way they are skating right now, maybe this could be the year that they do it.
I think definitely, Brenda. I've never seen them look so strong.
While we're waiting for their scores, let's go backstage to Scott Russell. Scott?
Vanessa Crone and Paul Poirier of Canada. Eleanor Rigby continues to grow in everyone's estimation. Everyone considers it from every angle. How did you see that performance?
That performance was the best we've done all season, and we're very proud of how we came out there and just pushed ourselves to the limits, and we couldn't have been more proud of ourselves today and our skate here.
Paul, it's a tremendously competitive ice dance scene worldwide. Do you say the same thing? You like that performance, and are you a little bit miffed at the result?
Vanessa and I are definitely really pleased with that performance. We felt it was so strong. There are a few levels we missed in both programs, especially in the short dance, so we'll have to go home and just review things. Sometimes it's really easy to get careless, and we have to look over things and really see where we lost the points. But I think overall we were happy with both performances and felt they've grown since Skate America.
And often the skaters will come across a tough panel, a technical panel that maybe is a little pickier on the levels. That does affect the marks. However, the placements tend to end up in the right order.
Well, we have new leaders now. Pechalat and Bourzat have moved into first place with season best scores in the free dance. Just one team left to come here in Beijing, China.
Judges didn't turn a blind eye to them, did they?
Mero Davis and Charlie White are on the ice, and they had just a 3-point lead on Pechalat and Bourzat after that short dance. The Americans haven't looked quite as invincible as some may have thought in the absence of Olympic champions Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer this season.
Well, they decided to take on a tango, which for them, it was the piece of music they wanted. They went to their coaches and said, this is what we want to skate to. And artistically, it has been a push for them, although they have gotten better each time out. Let's see where they're taking it to here. When you're skating to Phantom of the Opera, it's a piece of music that can sort of carry you artistically. This tango pushes them much more intricate, more levels emotionally. We're seeing they're capturing the nuances in the music, the changes of tempo much more effectively than they have in the past this season. And look at the speed on the twizzles. Reckless.
They hold the top scores this season, but the margin between their total scores and the French team is a little more than 3 points, so they up until this point hadn't shown the polish that we saw in their Olympic season. Natural, I suppose.
difficulty in that spin, Kurt.
Crazy difficulty. I'm trying to find the right word. Had to go with crazy on that one.
Well, while the French were charming, this just had the fire to it, more meat to this performance, and so much better than we've seen this season on the Grand Prix circuit from Davis and White. Wow.
The reigning world and Olympic silver medalist, certainly the class of the field here at the Grand Prix final.
And their coach, Igor Spielban, along with Marina Zueva, and of course, the coaches of Canadians, Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer.
Who had a pretty good tango in their own. I love the way they sleek, the way they went in and out of the lifts. Good for them.
Now let's hear from Weaver and Poje.
We have nothing to be ashamed of, really. We went home after Skate America and worked so hard in this free dance, and we worked so many elements. So it's pretty disappointing that our scores are now lower than they were. We obviously had some element issues that caused a lot of downgrades, thus losing many points. So just more to go home and work on. And we're so happy just to be at the final. It's a huge achievement in itself. So we can take this as experience and go home and get ready for nationals.
Andrew, this has been a season about making your way back to prime time, so to speak. How's this sit in the process with that?
Well, one of our main season goals was just to make to the final, and so to be here is great, as Caitlin was saying. And this is just halfway through the season. This is a stepping stone in the whole scheme of things, and we wanted to go out there and perform, and we felt like we went out there and performed it to our best. And obviously we made little minor mistakes, and that cost us in the points, but we're happy with how we skated it and how we performed.
Caitlin, Andrew, the best of luck to you the rest of the way this season.
Thank you so much.
So maybe some fine-tuning to do technically, but nonetheless to make it to the Grand Prix final, top 6 teams in the world, an accomplishment to be proud of.
Merrill Davis and Charlie White need a score of around 93 points to move ahead of Pechalat and Bourzat.
No
Easy peasy. They do it. A new season best for them, and they win the Grand Prix final.
And that was a convincing win in my mind by Davis and White, as we were thinking it was going to be very close with the French team. It had been looking that way coming in here. They have put some distance between them and the team from France.
Davis and White pick up the second Grand Prix final victory of their career. 9 points back in second. Pechalat and Bourzat, and another milestone result for the Canadians as Vanessa Crone and Paul Poirier finish in third place. Now let's join Scott Russell. Scott.
Thanks very much, Brenda. Intricate, difficult, delivered with a certain amount of pace. It describes the free dance of Merrill Davis and Charlie White of the United States. Merrill, what have you got to add to that?
I think we're excited about where our program is right now. It's been definitely building throughout the season, and we're excited to see where we take it.
Charlie, obviously you're enjoying a little bit of time in the sun in terms of the free dance, in terms of your competitiveness. Where do you go from here?
We're looking to go up. You know, it's really still just halfway through the season, basically, and we have a lot of room to improve these programs. So we're looking forward to, you know, working towards nationals and worlds, just building on what we've done here.
I wouldn't be Canadian if I didn't ask you if you're missing the rivalry competitively right now with Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer.
We definitely are. I mean, we miss them as friends. They're great athletes, so as a competitor, definitely missing them on the scene. But I think they'll be back very soon. So.
Hey, listen, congratulations to you both on this Grand Prix title.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
There you go, Brenda. Merrill Davis and Charlie White for the second consecutive year Grand Prix titleists here in Beijing.
So Mero Davis and Charlie White undefeated so far this season. It's been a great year for them. Also a great year for Canadians. Patrick Chan wins the men's competition. Vanessa Crone and Paul Poirier pick up the bronze in ice dance.
Well, Vanessa and Paul have really stepped it up this season, and in light of the fact that Virtue and Moyer are out due to injury, the spotlight has been squarely on Vanessa and Paul's shoulders. They've handled it so well, and they're setting up a wonderful showdown that we'll look forward to at the National Championships when they take on Weaver and Poje again. Patrick was pretty good too, eh?
Yeah, what
Wasn't
a boy.
bad.
What a good boy. I feel like Don
When he
Cherry.
needed to be.
Well, you know, he did, and I'm just very happy for him with that quad. It's so much fun to do, and I'm very happy that now that he has the quad, to get that, he probably had to give away attention to other things like the triple axel. So my homework for you on the new year, Patrick, is to put a little more attention back on that axle.
Well, our coverage doesn't end here. We still have 4 more hours to come. Tonight, we're going to have some pairs competition, and as well, we are going to have the women's event. And then New Year's Day, all the stars will be out for the gala performance. And our next skating event will be the all-important Canadian Championships from Victoria, British Columbia. And our coverage begins on Friday, January the 21st. Now let's head back to Beijing, China, and our host, Scott Russell. Scott?
Thanks, Brenda. The Cape Tower is one of the 4 anchors of the Forbidden City, home to the rulers of China. The last emperor left here in 1911, and since then, the People's Republic has continued to come of age. Patrick Chan continues to mature as a figure skater. He turns 20 on the last day of 2010, and only now is he entering the prime of his career. He's a Grand Prix final titleist, and he's bound for the World Championships in Tokyo in March. For all of us, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for more championship figure skating on CBC.